Hey guys, welcome back to Talking with Tyler, and on today's podcast, I'll be recapping the Jets' past game to the Colts, which resulted in a 28-27 loss. This with my dad, who's back again. So welcome to the show, Dad.
Thanks for having me.
So I wanted to get right into it. The offense looked really poor in the first half. Not even a single first down until 2 minutes left in the second quarter, and that was that drive was a touchdown. So that actually put the Jets on the board. Surprisingly, after a really rough start, the defense played alright. I thought 13 points given up in the first half. I feel like they could have played a little better, but. They played good enough to give the offense a lot of opportunities. So what did you think of this, the team's performance? Did you like the offense? You didn't like the offense, but how did you think they played?
It was kind of a tale of two halves. The Jets, like you said, did not come out with any kind of urgency or fight to them. They got down early, 10-0. To their credit, they didn't fold, and they fought, and finally, again, like you said, got their first down with basically 2 minutes left in the first half. They did go down and score, and they were down 10-0 and actually down 13-0, and they were able to get that touchdown. Now, the Colts came out with the ball first in the third quarter, right out of the half, but there was a strip sack, and the Jets were actually able to go down and capitalize pretty early in the third quarter and take a 14-13 lead. And it seemed like the whole entire complexion of the game changed. Like from that strip sack on, the Jets really kind of had the upper hand, and they had the lead. Then they gave, then the Colts came back a little bit. Then the Jets came up, and they got to like an 8-point lead. And then, again, in true Jets fashion, they somehow found a way to lose that game. It was tough. We were there. Place was electric, in the second half, not so much the first half. And they just find ways to lose. It's really disheartening.
Yeah, definitely. They can't really win. It's just, I thought this year, going into this year, the schedule would have been easier, but it just hasn't worked out that way this year. Even with all the talent they brought in, it just still isn't really working out. The Jets actually are getting worse on paper than they did last year. Zach Wilson actually has a better record than what Aaron Rodgers currently has. But I want to bring Breece Hall still continues to be that guy. As we all know, Breece the Beast. He had 16 carries for 78 yards and a touchdown. He lit it up in this game. I thought he had a really nice game. The offensive line did a really nice job blocking for him. And I thought he got some yardage. What did you think of his performance? 4.9 a carry.
Yeah, like you said, he had 78 yards on 16 carries, so close to 5 per average, and then he was also the second leading receiver with 43 total yards, and again caught a touchdown. So he had over 100 and just about 110, a little bit more than 110 total yards, 2 touchdowns. He's a playmaker, and when you look at the overall stats of the game, Aaron Rodgers was 22 of 29, 164 total yards, 184 total yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, had a rating of 114, and somehow the Jets still found a way to lose. Devontae Adams, 72 yards. Garrett Wilson had kind of a light day, only 4 4 receptions for 18. But, all in all, Jets won, the turnover battle. Their kicker hit a huge, it was a 58-yarder, I think, they did every component part right and still found a way to lose. I mean, we'll touch base on it, but, the Jets go up again where they're up 24 to 16. And they're up by 8. And then Indianapolis comes down and they score, go for 2 and don't get it. So then Jets are up by 2. Then again, they hit a field goal. Now they're up by 5. So you're like, all right, well, now Indianapolis has to go down the length of the field and they have to get a touchdown. Like if the Jets have this, this vaulted, defense, and they keep saying that, this team's a great defensive team and all these other type of things, you have to basically, stop them from going down and scoring. And like on the very next play, Sauce gets turned around looking for help over the top, and they throw a 50-yard bomb down the sideline. And, it was like 2 minutes left, and before you know it, there's plenty of time. There's a minute and 30 seconds left, and they go down and score. They get down again, another play, and they're on the 3 or 4 yard line. It's 1st and goal, 2nd and goal. Richardson's going to run it, and he does, and he basically runs it right down the defense's throat, and they score. And then the Jets go down 28 to 27, and then we saw Rodgers take a sack at the end and ends the game with his laying on the ground, and the Jets lose 28-27.
Yeah, that play definitely killed it right there. But Josh Downs for the Colts really stunned me. He played really well in this game. Created a lot of space and really put Sauce and DJ Reed in a really bad spot. But also, Jonathan Taylor was really quiet in this game. The Jets' run defense actually played better than how the last games looked. 91 overall for the Colts rushing side. But I thought the Jets defense created not a lot of pressure on the quarterback, only 2 sacks. Thought they could have done a better job there. But I think it's also a little bit of coaching comes down to it. Ulbrich had to move to the head coaching spot, so I don't know who's the current defensive coordinator.
I don't think anybody does. He's trying to do both. I think since our last podcast, I don't think we've touched base on it, but the Jets have released their GM. So Joe Douglas is now out on the streets. Obviously fired their head coach a while back. None of these things that Woody Johnson is ultimately doing is working. We're 1-7 since Saleh got let go. Joe Douglas, got let go, and there's just a team that's just reeling right now, looking for a new GM, obviously going to be looking for a new head coach, and to be honest with you, probably looking for a new quarterback. It's same old Jets, 3 years, 3 years removed or 2 years removed from Rodgers. Played, been with us for 2 seasons, played for 1, and the 1 season he's playing is, for all intent and purpose, just putrid, just not getting the job done. Now he's a 40-year-old quarterback. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but this experiment by the Jets did not work.
Yeah, nobody really thought about this, but I wonder if him getting hurt in his first season affected his playing abilities in this year.
Yeah, I mean, it goes to show you, older people, older athletes don't fully recover from catastrophic injuries, and Achilles is a pretty big injury, and then not only that, takes them longer, and you miss a step, and in today's NFL, a lot of the quarterbacks are mobile, and you see a Lamar Jackson, and you see people that are able to run it, even people that aren't that mobile, like you look at like Russell Wilson from the Steelers. Like, he's not ultra mobile, but he does get out of the pocket a little bit more and create some space and some angles, and it just could not have gone any worse for the Jets. So with that being said, Tyler, it's time for studs and duds. Who do you have for stud and dud on the Jets?
I don't know. I would give it to the offense for the first half, but they did play better in the second half, so that wouldn't be my dud for the game. I meant dud. But stud would have to go to, I don't know. I guess Brees for the only really long touchdown of the game. And he also led the team in all-purpose yards. Mm-hmm. So probably Brees. And then I did it by accident. I said the duds first. The dud would have to be the offense in the first half. But I don't know about the full game because I didn't really see anybody that stood out. Maybe Rodgers. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who's your stud and dud?
For my stud, Quentin Williams. Quentin Williams had 7 total tackles, a 4 solo. He had 1 sack, 2 tackles for a loss. I mean, again, he's constantly being double teamed. He's clogging up the middle. They've done a little bit better with their run defense as far as running backs. Quarterbacks are, Richardson looked like the next coming of Steve Young, unfortunately. But I would say he would be my stud. My dud, I've given it to Rodgers. I've given it to the defense. I've given it to the coaches. I am giving this dud to the owner, Woody Johnson. We're just the Jets are a failing organization that is just grasping at straws for the last 13, 14 years and just kind of throwing it to the wall and seeing if it sticks. Now Rodgers came in and played the way that he did in Green Bay the last previous years, those MVP years. We probably wouldn't be saying this. We would say it's a great job and doing all these great things, but it just hasn't worked. And the Jets are now going to probably be looking for a new quarterback, a new coach, a new GM, starting all over. We finally have some young players, and Quentin Williams, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson. While Sauce has not had a terrific year, still a pretty good defensive player. All these players are now going to be going through a rebuild when they thought they were going to be Super Bowl bound, and it really starts from ownership. Like they're just all over the place, and it'll be another 2 to 3 years rebuild, or we'll try and pick up a quarterback in free agency similar to what we have in the past for somebody that's already aged or aging, that are on the tail end of their careers instead of on the way up. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how these guys play for pride the end of the season, the last 4 or 5 games that are coming up. Really really tough. So what's Tyler's takeaway on the Jets season so far, and ultimately their last what do we have, 6 games probably left, I think. You think they mail it in, you think they pack it in, or you think they play for pride?
I'd say play for pride.
Okay.
I think they do try to see how some of these other players play, like the rookies, and see what we got for next year. Maybe put Tyrod in to see if he can actually spark the offense. But Devontae Adams, he's probably going to be going with Rodgers if he retires. A lot of these players are going to be going after all this that went down this year. Just not good. Probably one of their worst years in a while, even though they've been under 500 for a while now, for the past couple seasons.
Yeah, we've had bad years. We've had years, actually, I can't even imagine this, but worse than this. But none that had so much promise in the beginning of the season to fail miserably. Like we failed miserably over the course of the last decade and going on and on. But for as much hype and the roster that was put together, and it's just not being cohesive and not working. There's never been more hype and hope, and it has just ended in just misery for not only the players and the organization, but the fans as well.
Yeah, I just thought about it right now. Like, even when we have good draft picks, we always screw that up too. When we went two wins a couple years ago, they got the second overall pick, Zach Wilson. That experiment didn't work, and they passed up on Trevor Lawrence. We won that one silly game in L.A. to the Rams. That shouldn't have happened because we could have gotten Trevor Lawrence, who's actually playing somewhat well right now for the Jaguars, even though they're struggling. But we'll see how the rest of the year goes. I would really like to see Tyrod could play at some point this year. At least give some mobility to the offense. He actually has a little bit of scrambling ability, and I would actually like to see that since a guy that we see, Aaron Rodgers, who's really older, and I mean Tyrod's older too, but Aaron Rodgers really doesn't have that ability that Tyrod has. So thank you guys for listening to my podcast. Thanks, Dad, again for coming on. He'll be on for the next couple. Jets are going to be taking on the Seahawks on Sunday. It should be a pretty good one. Hopefully the Jets get back on the winning streak. I want to do another Jets chant as the tradition goes to hype up everybody. Just anything to spark this team. Jets, 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 Jets. Thank you all for listening and have a great rest of your night. Bye, guys.